everybody, to Integrate Yourself. I'm your host, Allison Pelot, and you can find me at pureenergypdx.com. Today, I am here with a very special guest, Justin Frandson. He's an athleticism performance coach that has worked with amateur and professional athletes for over the past 2 decades. He saw his athlete breaking down from excessive levels of EMF from their smartwatches, wireless earbuds, and electric cars. He has tested hundreds of homes and clients, and he sells the Grounding and Faraday Bags at doctor clinics throughout the country. The grounding bags are hand-mined crystals with moisture and magnetic properties to ground and repel EMF, all for a deeper night's sleep. This is Mother Nature's way of protecting us from the excess rollout of man-made radiation, not a man-made device attempting to keep up with the other man-made levels. Thank you so much for coming on, Justin. I'm really excited to talk about this because this is a major issue that's really getting bigger and bigger as we start to depend more on technology in our lives, and we're really living with it and in it. So it's great to know how we can protect ourselves from the radiation that EMFs put our bodies in, and the stress of it, because a lot of times people don't even realize that this kind of stress is happening. They just don't consider that has anything to do with their health, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on. And I would love for you to start by just sharing with my audience. The first question I want to ask you is, how did you go from being an athletic performance coach to, it kind of said it a little bit in the intro, but to what you're doing now with the EMF rocks, because how did you start putting these things together? Did you start seeing your athletes' health decline around these devices? What happened there with you?
Yeah, first off, thank you for having me on the show, Allison. Appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
I'm so excited to chat with you on this. And yes, I working with these top amateur and professional athletes for several decades. I always felt EMF myself and how it was a really big stressor on my body. And about a decade or so ago, I said, we got to look into this for performance. And so what are the individual stressors that a body actually has? And so I realized that they're physical, emotional, biochemical. So physical would be too much, too little, or big trauma, mental, emotional, stress, thoughts, feelings, emotions. And then biochemical would be food, drink, air, and EMF was the one that no one was really looking at. That was the one that was gaining the most momentum. And the proximity just got closer with the earbuds and the smartwatches and electric cars and routers in people's homes and under their desks. And so I just had to look at this. But yeah, they were breaking down for virtually no reason. Just endurance athletes, guys, strongest guys you've ever seen, would come in and their whole left arm would go weak from wearing a smartwatch for a while. Take it off, and then they got better.
That's incredible that you were able to see that, because most people aren't going to notice that or put that together, right? That's happening.
Yeah. So it was definitely identifying stressors and working on getting them out of people's lives. And so got the meters, and you have a meter for electricity, and then one for dirty electricity, and then one for radio frequency. And so I started to understand and learn and dive into this whole topic and see what such of a massive invisible stressor EMFs are in our bodies. And we're so resilient, but it definitely chips away at our life force.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it is something that it's hard to avoid these days too. How were you able to make a leap to using these crystals? And I guess what brought you to that and creating the business that you now have?
Well, I always wanted to start to roll out products of my own, and I just started with the EMF products. So I found a doctor using a really similar protocol, and I was selling somebody else's products. And so he actually came to me and said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing this," and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm doing this," and his was better than mine, and so, but he didn't want anyone to know about it because he was retiring, and you know, all these doctors are having some challenges with getting shut down and whatnot. So he just wanted to stay under the radar for this remaining time practice, and so I took it, made it better, and rolled it out, and so that's where I found it. But we really was validated through a doctor clinic already using it as their a really similar protocol.
Oh wow, that's incredible. I love to hear that a doctor was doing that and testing it out. That's wonderful to hear. And some
Yeah, and
doctors are still practicing medicine.
definitely. And now, I mean, we're sold at doctor clinics all around the country. A
Oh
lot of
wow.
applied kinesiology doctors. Dr.
Oh.
Barolando did a waveform test, or if you're familiar with Bruce Lipton,
Mm-hmm.
and he talks about your health and your life force lying in your chi, in your energy. And,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where all your health is. Your chemistry in your body is second. And so Dr. Barolando, alphavedic.com, did a waveform test where he tested your energy field and any distortion in your chi. And with EMF as the stressors, and our grounding bags clinically passively treated up to 91% of the markers that were off. And he had never seen anything remotely that profound to help with EMF.
That's incredible. Wow. Yeah, because everything energetic gets, everything that you're experiencing physically is coming from an energetic place. Like we're, it's all connected, right? Um, okay, so I want to back up just a bit and just for my audience, talk about the invisible stressors of EMF because it is invisible. A lot of times people don't realize what's happening. They have these weird symptoms. They don't know where they've come from. And, all this technology has come very quickly upon us. We haven't had enough time to really adapt to it. And so, this can be the issue for a lot of people without them actually knowing it. So I'd love for you to share what you've seen, what you've experienced, as far as those invisible stressors are, and what people can look for if they're really having if they don't know what to look for when it comes to toxicity from EMFs.
Right. Well, I think we all saw it on a big scale for the first time ever with the Havana cohort. It was the first attack of U.S. embassy workers on foreign soil with microwave radiation, and it was in Cuba and China, and they were non-trauma concussion symptoms. So these guys were hospitalized for basically all these brain injuries for uh, months and months and months, and so basically the lower level symptoms we see all cognitive: focus, memory, behavior, fatigue, anxiety, stress, headaches, ringing in the ears, bloody noses. Then you go into muscle twitches, more severe migraines. You start to get into then you go into the next level, which will be the bigs: Alzheimer's, diabetes, suicide, cardiovascular, cancer. And the biggest one right now, Allison, is fertility. I mean, that's
Oh,
what we're
right.
really seeing, is a lack of fertility because the EMFs, the ovaries absorb 10 times the amount of radiation than any other part of the body, and then the guy's sperm count drops. So we're seeing a lot less fertility as well.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a really big one. Gosh. So, yeah. And so I guess this is pretty much the level also of EMF that we're being exposed to has really probably skyrocketed in the past even couple of years, right? Because you're hearing about, the now they're, I mean, everybody's heard about 5G by now, but I know I don't really think they're disclosing what this is going to be. This effect is going to be having on people, right? So maybe I don't know. Are you? I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but can you share what that might be or what's happening as we ramp it up with the 5G? Is that really safe, or what's going on with that? And of course, it sounds like you have a solution to helping offset those frequencies. But I was like, how, maybe just give me an idea. Actually, I don't know a lot about 5G either, but I just know what I've heard. But it doesn't sound really good. It sounds actually like it's going to make things worse.
Well,
As far as the microwave ability goes with it, and all that, and the radiation itself. So, go ahead.
yeah. So Allison, so what I want to caution everyone is to not give their power away to it. So
Right.
I got the crap scared out of me when I metered an office one time and there were towers on. I went upstairs on the parking lot and I got a headache within 10 seconds, like massive. I'm like, oh no, we're screwed. We don't want to go there because the cool thing is with this stuff is it's physics. You can convert a waveform from something that's polarizing to unpolarized and make it healthy and beneficial for us. So that's what our grounding bags do. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to understand how the universe works and how we are one with the universe. And you started to touch on it. And we live in this electromagnetic blanket of an atmosphere. We have our own energy field as well. And both the universe and us do really well with scalar waves, with waves that
I was going to talk about scalar energy. Yeah, because that has to do with it, right? Yeah. I've heard that I had Tom Palladino on my show recently, and he talked about electromagnetic energy being a derivative of scalar energy, basically, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we do well with these waves that distribute equally in every direction versus all electronics have to be one directional waveforms in order for them to work. So we're looking at something and then the speed of that waveform. So 5G is 50 to 90 billion waves, 60 to 90 billion waves per second. So Allison, when we're sleeping and resting, we're at 1 or below 1 to 8 hertz or waves per second when you're in a theta delta brainwave state. I mean, the speed and the difference of the waves is just dramatic on our body. So I always equate it. You add 10 zeros to someone's bank account. That's a big difference. And it's the same with our body in a one directional waveform.
So it's having to take on much more than it's used to, basically. Like, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So let's talk about the thing that we're using most, our cell phones, right? I mean, we have that the closest to our bodies all the time, right? And people have them to their ears still, and that's really crazy. But yeah, I mean, do you have, I think I heard you talk about this a little bit. You do have some things that people can put on their phones that, is that true, or near the phone? How does that work as far as the phones go?
Right. So what we're doing is, I have a couple companies. I start off with athleticism.com and being a performance coach and working with athletes. And on there, we have these curated health and performance products as well. And the EMF rocks are part of that, those products. So emfrocks.com is where the line of the grounding bags and Faraday bags that we sell and help as the solution. So when I go and meter a home, the answer are the grounding bags. And here, I have one for you right here. And they're actually 1 pound hand mined crystals.
Wow.
And they have moisture and magnetic properties in them to ground, repel, and recharge you all for a deeper night's sleep. So you would put one on or under your bed at the head of the bed for a deeper night's sleep. And that's what the grounding bags do. We also have,
gotcha.
Yeah, we also
they're
offer
mostly for helping with sleep because that's what's going to regenerate the body.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, with sleep for sure, because that's when you're getting all your restoration takes place. And then we have minis for your pocket, purse, or backpack. And
cool.
Yeah, so those are super fun. So when you have on-the-go protection, when you're using your cell phone. So it's really challenging, Allison, to clear a source directly. And a source would be a phone or a computer. So we just need a lot of product to do that. So the ones that you put on a phone or a little chip or grounding mats that you plug into the wall, those are going to be really futile efforts. Man-made devices attempting to keep up with man-made signals. No one does it better than God does and Mother Nature does.
Right.
So we went right to the source, to where we hand mine these crystals that already have these incredible properties in them that kick off a negative ionic charge, because we have a negative ionic charge coming up from the earth, and feed us the electrons. So it's really science what we're looking at. It's like following physics and biology and science and how the body works. It's incredible.
That makes total sense to me. Yeah, I'm always about working with nature instead of against nature, you know. I think it's always easier that way and more simple. When we try to do it in other ways, it's more complex. And then, of course, complexity sells, right? So that's how we get there. Okay, this is really neat. I'm learning more than I did when I first heard about all this. This is cool. Where do the where do the crystals come from? Where do you guys get them? I don't know if you can say that or not, but yeah.
Not totally. We hand mine them in the Western U.S. and they're just a special place that has a moisture content. So they've had an underground water source. So the reason is we keep them sealed, and you have to keep them sealed is because they'll dry out. They'll lose their form. They lose their function for EMF. So no one's ever seen these crystals, because when anyone try and use them, they would just turn to dust. So that's why they're not as popular as amethyst or shungite. But when we start to put them in clinical practice and have doctors tested, or your own sleep tracking or pH or any bio test, any body test, it's going to be just exponentially, phenomenal for you.
That's really cool. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And so, are they ever in danger of drying out at all, or do they stay? They do. They are.
Okay. They do. Yeah. So if you unseal them, they'll dry out relatively quickly, and then obviously if you get them wet or in extreme heat, they'll dry out. So the average bag, if you just put it under your bed or on your bed, it'll last for anywhere a couple years on up to a decade. I mean, they're not going to dry out overnight when they're double sealed. So our products will last a long time. If you carry them everywhere you go, obviously they're going to not last as long. So but it's, I mean, this is a solid 1 pound bag of crystals. I mean, this thing is thick.
But they're sealed, it sounds like, so they're protected from getting dried out, right?
Yes, double sealed. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. Well, that's great. Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. And I like it better than the cell phone cases that you put on your cell phone and stuff. I always wondered if those worked really well, and it's sounding like they don't work as well as I thought they did.
Well, let me back that up a little bit for you and help everyone understand that we're not a blocking product. We do have repellent because they're inside of a Faraday bag, and that the Faraday bag will repel. But when you go through true blocking, if you're looking for something underneath your laptop when it's under you, it's going to block it. So our Faraday bag, if you put it in your case and you put this guy in your case underneath your computer while you're on it, it'll redirect those EMFs up away from you. So the same with this, if it's in a pocket, your bone density right in that one part of your leg won't drop, substantially. So because it's kind of not going right in there, it'll go everywhere else. So there is a time and a place for blocking devices where if you have a cell tower right outside your window and get paint, get tint, block it, that's great. But what happens is Dr. Martin Paul realized that there's a vibration that happens with the EMF. So even if it's low level or really high level, even if you're attempting to block it, or even if you're sitting on a Tesla car and they're trying to block it but you're sitting on a battery, there's going to be massive vibration in those. So the vibration is what affects us. It opens up our voltage gated calcium channels, lets positive calcium into a negative cell, and then in turn causes, DNA damage. And that's when we start to break down, and everyone bends and breaks in different ways, depending on how healthy or strong we are. So it's this trickle down effect, like a secondary effect on the body that the EMFs have. And depending on your age, anyone younger than 24 and older than 50, they're going to start to get hit a lot sooner and harder than someone that's in a more resilient energy field. And then someone who does more breath work and grounding and breathing and exercising and eats well and doesn't have heavy metals inside them, whether it's from shots, vaccines, or from even from tattoos, or fillings, they're going to be less of a conductor to it than somebody else.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and all the 50, well, I don't know. I think all the older people are buying the Teslas too. So there you go.
And they are. And so this is one other crazy thing that everyone needs to know. I had a colleague that would test these professional athletes, and then he got hired to go work with the special forces and military contract. All he does is blood work. That's all. And he threw in a marker variable of guys driving electric cars. It was the biggest marker change. The guys driving electric cars, their testosterone dropped 18%.
Whoa.
So most of the guys, and I live in Newport Beach, most of the guys driving Teslas around here are taking testosterone to replace it. So they're getting so much more testosterone, but it's chipping away at their kids, their wife, and their own life force. But to lower your testosterone, you're going to have cognitive challenges, bone, brain, breast, and prostate. Like those are the big challenges with prostate, when it gets lower.
Yeah. That leads to all kind of issues with the prostate, and why lower your testosterone intentionally in the first place? So you have to take testosterone. That seems like counterintuitive, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like everybody wants to be an advocate of the climate, be on the right side of the climate change movement or whatever. But yet, like, it's ironic because these electric cars are actually also not good for our health in a lot of ways, because we're creating more stress, on the body. And I didn't even realize it was a vibrational issue, and that makes sense too, because it creates disharmony right in the body and in the energetic field. So that would make a lot of sense that it would manifest physically that way.
Definitely.
But this is, and I know a lot of people that are buying Teslas right now, and we just don't, we're just doing it, not really considering like the implications of that and what could happen, and so it's crazy.
A big part about it, Allison, is proximity awareness. So understanding what the stressors are, what the types of electricity are. So you have electricity, which is measured in milligauss. You have dirty electricity, which is measured in GS units, which is amps to volts. And then you have radio frequencies that are measured with an RF meter, acoustimeter. So you can purchase these meters. Dave Stetzer, STETZER, electric.com. You can get a dirty electricity meter for $130. So they're not expensive to grab these meters and test. But you have a Tesla, have the whole front dashboard is milligauss. The whole thing's self-driving. Then you're sitting on a battery, which is dirty electricity, because it's storing electricity and giving you the usage and the output that you're requesting. So that's going to cause lots of sparking. So Teslas especially will have, and any electric car for that matter, will have some of the highest of all three electricity. And the newer cars will have the whole front dashboards milligauss. So that's not good. Solar panels on homes, that's going to cause lots of static in the line and dirty electricity. And no, they're not environmentally sound. They're mined cadmium and still use coal. They use them in other countries. And then our landfills are filled up with acid, with dead batteries. So it's not a net zero on the environment. And the worst part about it all is, I don't know. Killing the environment's not that great, and and neither, but they're not healthy for us at all.
Why do you think that that's being pushed so hard then, if that's the case? Why is that technology being pushed on people right now? Because it's been out, I mean, it's been around for a long time, and suppressed even, but now all of a sudden, like, it's the next thing and people are being sold on it. So what's your take on that?
Oh, goodness sake. I mean,
It's a
there's
big question.
industries out there that are
Yeah.
for profit. I mean, you got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
follow the money with anything. So, who's profiting from this? And uh, I mean, a lot of the technology rollout is a really great way to track and trace and control a population. So,
Yeah, that's true.
there's ulterior motives, unfortunately, uh, that we're seeing currently, globally, that aren't enhancing, and that's where, yeah, these technology, it's so awesome. We can, you and I can talk and, from far away, and see each other, and really be able to interact like this, and then everyone will be able to watch it. And I mean, so we have so many benefits from technology. We're so grateful to have it and be in this lifetime. And then there's the flip side where, they can be used, for a lot of the data harvesting and data grabbing that's going on. And that's why, these Faraday bags end up being so good, is because you put your phone in it and your battery will last a lot longer, because they're
Oh,
not harvesting your data. They can't harvest your data when it's inside
that's
it.
what I wanted to ask you. How does that work? How are they not able to harvest your data when you do that?
Well, so this is where a lot of people are getting credits for letting people use your bandwidth on your computer. They're just pulling every information. Like, there's trackers on every app. Your phone, your bank, like your bank, just your bank alone knows your retina scan, your fingerprint,
Oh
all
my
your
goodness.
passcodes. They know how fast you drive, what your gait is. They know, sorry about that. They know
That's okay.
so many different things that are going on with you. So it's just unbelievable, that the amount of information that is being pulled from you, and it all aggregated and all AI to start to market you, accordingly and directly, or even, know what you're going to want for dinner that night because of your patterns and your mood, and your cycle that you're going through. So it,
Right.
it's it's some pretty eerie stuff, and to for me to know that China even knows everything about you
Yeah.
is
Oh,
scary enough on its own, because they know all about everything we have, especially if you're driving a foreign car, and all the phones. So I'm right now going through a whole wipe my slate clean process, where
oh,
I can be invisible on this stuff and get proxy accounts and use Proton Mail, and
wow.
you know communicate through Signal or other. There's Jitsi, that's a double encrypted video platform, that we can jump on. So there's going to be so many different technology applications out there that we can use, but not to, but slow AI down, so that in 15 years we're not, really taken over by, whomever.
That's good to know. Yeah, I'd love to slow that down because that's doesn't seem like a good future.
No.
Be tracked all the time. Um, wow. Okay. So you have a bag that you can put your phone in, and that they won't be able to. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Faraday
Yeah.
bag.
Okay. Faraday bag. I'm gonna
And
have to
yeah,
get
it's a
that.
static bag, and we have
Yeah.
a phone size one that were just rolled out, and the static bags are just awesome. They just quiet the stressor of the phone on you. They're just phenomenal. So it's a really important item to have for your home, and then obviously the grounding bags for people to sleep and to heal and to clear your whole home.
Yeah. Sleep is a big one because especially if you're in a city and all the not to, well, the electromagnetic stressors are big, but also just the energy of people and the fear and the all the stuff that's been going on this past couple of years is creating less sleep for, or the inability to sleep well for people. So anything that can help with that, I think, is much appreciated because we are living in interesting times right now, for
We
sure.
sure are. We sure are.
Yeah.
And so it's more important to understand what health is, and it's grounding, it's getting lots of sleep, it's proper nutrition, it's smiling, it's love and touching. That's what health is. And,
Yeah.
you know, we have to get back to the basics of really trusting in the creator and really staying connected. And then you're protected because there's nothing really to fear out there.
This is true. Yeah, just getting back to human connection. It sounds like this helps with that too, because helping someone get grounded is like a big deal. And, with so many people don't know how to do that right now as well. And that's, like you said, with food, exercise, sleep, getting into a routine of taking care of your body, and then having that extra like help with all the electromagnetic radiation and stressors. I heard you say, what did you say? Something about you were talking about the Tesla battery being dirty electricity. I'm not very familiar with the term dirty electricity, and I kind of wanted to know more about what that is and how that looks in other areas, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
You bet. So Dave Stetzer, StetzerElectric.com has a meter that you can meter it. It really brought a lot of the dirty electricity to the front stage, where you can test if there's dim switches on lights, if there's solar on a home, if there's new LED lights in these new homes. All those will kick off major static in your line, which is dirty electricity. You will also find it if there's rats in your outdoor underground lines that have chewed it, because the signals going into a junction need to meet the signals going out. If there's any discrepancy in the two, you're going to have lots of dirty electricity. So when something is a battery that's storing electricity and then giving you the voltage, the amps that you're looking for specifically for your own health, or actually for your own usage, that's going to cause lots of dirty electricity.
Okay, I see. Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. Cool. Well, let's see. So this sounds like it helps people just naturally ground themselves, which we did touch upon a little bit. But earthing, if people aren't familiar with that, is just really just the easiest thing you can do to earth yourself is to walk barefoot in the grass.
Yeah.
And that really helps with grounding. Also, just walking on the beach or anything that you're really, able to really experience nature and connect with it, I think. And it sounds like the crystals will help with that as well. Is that where, is it helping people ground and get in earth that way as well? And as far as like in their homes, is what you're saying when you say that?
Definitely, Allison. This is like walking barefoot in a bag. Literally, you're pulling the electrons, from the earth, and they're in this grounding bag. So you're basically having a portable earthing product that you can take with you wherever, or just keep it in your home and ground out your whole home. So exactly. And Clint Ober wrote an incredible book called Earthing, on what grounding is. And again, the ocean, the just getting your feet in the grass, sand, soil, it's gonna, your hands in the soil, touching a tree, all that, you're gonna pull those electrons from that negative ion charge to recharge our body. And our body has a positive charge coming in from above. So Eileen McCusick has some incredible work on tuning forks, but she and Bruce Lipton and many others feel that your health lies in your chi and your life force, in your energy field. And that's why we had Dr. Berlando test the energy field, because it supersedes blood. And so anyhow, when there's a one directional waveform coming from above, that's a positive, polarizing waveform. We're used to the unpolarized. So if we're in a situation where we're getting zapped by EMFs all day, we're wearing shoes all the time, not getting grounded, and then getting a one directional polarizing waveform from above, we're pretty much EMF'd, as Dr. Mercola calls it in his book. So
Yeah.
we want to get grounded by nature and get these grounding bags in your life, in your home, so that you can actually sleep.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. It
Oh, and
also calms your nervous system, it sounds like too.
definitely. Oh, to add to that, Allison,
Hmm.
there's 4 areas that get decharged from EMF: your eyes, your teeth, your thymus, which is your upper neck, lower intestine, and your stomach, your intestine area. So when those areas get decharged, they lose their polarization. And you can actually use the grounding bag and tap on it with one hand while the other hand covers your thymus. So
Oh, wow.
it's a self home care protocol to recharge your body as well. So we can use these grounding bags in a lot of different ways.
That's really great. Do you have a resource for people to learn how to use it different ways, or do you have information that people can access for that?
Yeah, on emfrocks.com,
Oh,
you
okay,
can
on your
on
website. Okay,
the website, and
awesome.
then when they purchase it, they get a flyer with it and walks through all the tapping protocols and placement protocols for multiple bags. So 5 grounding bags per 2,000 square feet, and then uh, and then one on or under each bed. So there's set protocols. We have a mini for your pocket purse or backpack. That one needs to be reground every couple of weeks. So you just put it on the ground, and the second it hits the ground, it'll recharge. It's so wild how physics works and how far we've gotten away from understanding waveforms, and that our environment is an energy electromagnetic blanket. And our environment, like dolphins are the ocean, ours is plasma in the air.
Yeah.
And so we've just got away from understanding how these waves and particles travel through plasma, and that when we radiate the entire globe, we're going to start to see people adapt to that, and our bodies will adapt and shift. And that's why it's really important to stay grounded.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little irresponsible how we're using it right now, like this EMF stuff. Well, that's really cool. This has been this. I'm definitely getting some of these. And I'll be in Newport Beach actually pretty soon, so maybe I'll come by and pick them up myself if you're in that area.
I would love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else to add to this, Justin? Because I feel like we've covered quite a lot. Is there anything that you really, I mean, that you want to share with my audience that they can either, any more information on how to order them or anything like that, and or just anything you want to add to the conversation that you feel like we missed?
I think we covered so much, Allison, and so thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
We really have a bunch of curated products on athleticism.com for soil enhancers, and to lean oil, MCT oil. That's better than anything else you've ever seen. And so we want to really understand how to bring in these great products into your life, and understand proximity awareness to kind of get a lot of the stressors out of your life. So shut down your routers at night, get them on
Right.
timers, really have proximity awareness, uh, not to wear wireless earbuds or smartwatches. And if you do want to track something, like track your sleep, wear it one night, track it, and then take it off. So
Yeah.
that's a huge part of it. It's just the proximity awareness too.
I have a question about the earbuds, and because those are fairly new, and I've noticed when I tried those, even for a little bit, it really didn't feel good to me. Like when I would put those in, and I was wondering why, like, um,
Because you're getting 2.45 billion waves per second in your inner ear, directly localized to your brain, because there's an airway canal from your ear to your brain. There's no skull there. So that's
oh gosh.
why they don't feel so great.
And then the watches too, I would assume they're not as close to your brain, but they're still affecting you,
Oh,
like because they're on
definitely.
your body. Yeah.
Definitely. I can't even put those on. I can't sit in a Tesla. It's I have to have an older phone for the 5G, no 5G at all. So there's definitely ways around it and understanding proximity awareness. When I'm not on my phone, it's in the Faraday bag, literally. So there's no tracking and tracing and data harvesting going on. And so we're living in a world where we have to have a lot more awareness of what health is and how the universe works to understand that there's nothing to fear, and then that we can really combat and slow down some of these more non-enhancing ulterior motives of these other industries like telecom, for sure, and
Yeah.
tech.
Yeah, because if you want to get healthy, you got to stay up on this stuff, right? Because it affects our health. And yeah, I every time a new technology comes out, and I think, probably one of the best things to do too is to stay sensitive to, um, like you're saying, like you can feel it's not good for you when you put it on, and I can feel that too, and I'm like, there's something not right about this, and maybe just not keep doing it. That would be a good step too.
Definitely, and
Yeah.
not put your laptop on your lap, for
Right.
fertility. Get those kids away from this stuff, have them have proper posture. So get these cell phones just, out of their hands, or have them sit up and have proper posture with it. We want to have, just awareness across the board on all this. And I wrote a book called Athleticism Whole Body plus Whole Brain equals Performance. And the first section of the book is all on awareness. And I cover all the intangibles from semantics to waveform stuff and intake and beyond. So that's a fun resource for people. Another great resource would be to check out The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. He categorizes all the major pandemics in the history of the globe and directly correlates them to increased shifts in electrification of our atmosphere, either cosmic or man-made. And Tom Cowan wrote The Contagion Myth. He talks a lot about EMFs as being an environmental stressor on our body, and that we're producing these viruses to adapt to it ourselves. The viruses are dead proteins. So there's so much information on amazing doctors talking about it and understanding waveform technology and just how our universe is made. We kind of seem to skip over it and don't understand that, hey, the reason we're seeing each other and hearing each other right now is because of waveforms. And so it's so simple of a concept. When we can start to break it down, it seems to get to be really confusing when they start naming it different names, like megahertz or what, how does that convert to waves per second? So I just dummy it down and let it be really understood for the layman. Like when you're sleeping, again, you're at 1 to 8 waves per second, and the 5G is 60 to 90 billion waves per second. So these are big challenges. And this whole internet of thing, though, one more thing, Allison, is get your home really healthy. Like that's what we really want to look at. And the one big way to do that is to opt out of your smart meter, convert it to analog. So you can call your gas and electric company and say, hey, I want to get rid of this smart meter. You pay $75 one time. At least that's what we do in Newport here. And it's $10 a month extra. And your home's not a cell site. And it's not just really connected to the whole grid. So that's what we want to do, is put your stuff on airplane mode, throw them in the Faraday bag, get your smart meters back to analog, see how quiet your home can get. And we had our electricity go off one night, and I was sitting at home. This is a while ago when I was watching TV. I'm not watching TV anymore, but I was watching TV, and all of a sudden all the electricity went off, and it was this the buzzing of this stuff, the constant vibrational buzzing, until it just completely goes away. You have no idea how loud it is on your body, and animals hear it and plants hear it and we feel it. And so it's definitely really important to understand all this.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And that would probably include the Nest. Is that what you're also talking about too? Like that kind of thing? Yeah. Yeah.
AC unit, any the Ring doorbell, any Apple TV, all this technology that's all looking to talk to you or waiting for you to talk to it. And that's why it's trying to be smart, but it's
listening
not.
to what you're saying.
Oh yeah. the Alexas, all these things.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to them. Get off of TikTok. Like, they're tracking you like crazy. I mean, it's really real. It's happening right now. And cybersecurity guys will talk about it. This is going to be the most, biggest thing is your security, because they already know your retina and your passwords and all this stuff. So get vaults on your computer and start to really take precautions for your own health. And then, financial securities or protecting your passcodes and such. And it all relates to the Faraday bags and our EMF Rocks products.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Justin, you definitely sold me today, so thank you. I'll be picking up some of those. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this amazing information. Very helpful, very informative, and important for people to know this in this day and age, for sure. So thank you. Thank you for providing these crystals too. This sounds like an amazing thing. So thank you.
We're going to get you a care package for sure.
Okay. Thank you. And I hope to come down there and see you in person as well. I'll be in that area. So yeah. All right.
Love it.
All right. Thanks so much, Justin.
Thank you.
All right.